On today's episode of the Carolina Sports Guy, we're diving back into the Carolina Panthers 2021 training camp. What's been going on the last couple of days, folks? Got some questions, might have some answers. Before we get into today's content, make sure you subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. Hit that bell notification and be notified of future videos like what you see in today's content on the Panthers, the Carolina Hurricanes, Charlotte Hornets, major college sports in North Carolina and South Carolina. Pound that like button, and folks, leave me some comments. I love the dialogue. All right, folks, kind of looking, getting some updates as we speak right now. Today, of all days, and I probably won't release this video till tomorrow, but we had a little incident in training camp with the undrafted rookie safety from South Carolina. I'm hoping I'm saying his name right because I've looked it up. It's either J.T. Ibe or J.T. Ibe, but it's I-B-E. And the only thing shorter than his last name is the length of time he's going to spend in this 2021 Carolina Panthers training camp. Because before he could hit the showers, folks, he was out the door. Everybody's seen the hit. I mean, it was a pole in the way at Wofford at the stadium. Couldn't really tell. It didn't look that egregious. But folks, anytime a player goes up and you lead with your shoulder and kind of target someone in the head, regardless of how rough it may look, especially for a player as promising as Keith Kirkwood. Remember, Kirkwood's had some injuries, and he's played for Rule before. And this was a guy, because of injuries, that if something happened or the wide receiver group got depleted, Kirkwood could be fighting for a job, even special teams. Now, if he's hurt and keeps getting injured, his availability may be in question. And this really could cost him a roster spot, folks. It really could. And I had him not making the roster. But, like I said, you know, the guys out there fighting for a spot, a couple of guys could get injured, or somebody could just fall out and not play well, and it can leave a spot open for him. This does not bode well for Keith Kirkwood. And we already knew that J.T.I. probably wasn't going to make this roster. But it's really going to, you know, he's definitely not going to make our roster now, even a practice squad. So after looking at that, what's going on? All right, looking at the offensive line. I know that's the one thing people are complaining about and saying, you know, we got some issues here. What are we going to do? One of the biggest issues that we have is that left side. And it looks like we're starting to play Taylor Moton over there. And I'm hoping, I've spoken about it in videos before, if Moton can hold down the fort, he doesn't have to be the best left tackle. But you don't want where he was so great on the right side, if he ends up just being a lackluster or a ho-hum left tackle, if the right side is left open and no one can fill that spot, then what have we really accomplished anything? But we're going to have to wait and see. That left side, that blind side of Sam Darnold, you really have got to have that left tackle in place. So we're going to see what happens. I know Brady Christensen, some people said he's looked okay. I know the one thing I've heard from Matt Rule a lot is Trent Scott, his versatility. I don't know where Trent Scott's going to start on this line. I mean, he could end up being our left tackle. He could end up being the right tackle because Christensen might not be good enough to be right tackle if they keep Moton at left. And you know, the thing about Trent Scott, he can end up playing with either one of the guard positions. The versatility of being able to play four spots. If this man isn't starting one of these four spots, he's probably going to be the first reserve coming off the bench. And I'm telling you, folks, there's an 80% chance, unless he gets hurt, Trent Scott's going to start on one of these positions and definitely make the team. And definitely, if somehow that 20% he doesn't start, he's definitely going to be the first man in my opinion. Greg Little's getting a look. It's very important to him, even if we don't try him at left tackle, if he can come in and play some guard, see what we got. Because Cam Erving, it looks like, is starting to slip. I've noticed talk about him, and I mean, he actually did an interview today on Tuesday in training camp. I just don't know if he's going to make it out of camp. And if he does make it out of camp, with the money we're paying him, I don't even know if he's going to start. And if he doesn't start, you might as well let him go. So we're going to have to see what happens there. Now, Wide receiver, since we looked at Keith Kirkwood's gone down, DJ Moore has looked very fluid. He's a man among boys. He just has such good hands, runs really good routes. He's toying with everybody, folks, and this guy's going to be great. Robby Anderson has looked good so far. David Moore had looked pretty good in practice. People were really impressed with Terrace Marshall Jr., and we've been speaking it up. People have been talking about him. This guy looks like he's ready. And if he doesn't start wide receiver 1 or 2, he could be the third guy. He could be the slot guy. But I think you're definitely going to see him. And I'm using caution, talked about it before. I don't want him to get hurt. But it really looks like he's going to shine. And his catch radius is incredible, folks. He's really going to make an impact early on. We know Shi Smith so far has looked pretty good. And we might see him a little bit, especially special teams returning some kicks. Now, the battle I'm hearing about, Omar Bayless could be taking it away from Brandon Zylstra. Zylstra is that journeyman. The guy's been around a long time. He's a veteran. He can play special teams. But if Bayless shines, folks, it's going to be really, really hard to cut this guy because he won't make it to the practice squad. Somebody will sign him. So are we going with 6 or 7 receivers? That's an interesting thing. Now, another interesting tidbit is a running back. We know that CMC, Christian McCaffrey is going to be our number 1 back. There's no doubt about who's number 2. Chuba Hubbard is going to be the number 2 back. But it's really interesting that they're getting Trenton Cannon to catch passes out of the backfield and run some routes with the receivers. It really speaks volumes because I really think the third running back on this roster to make him eligible to give McCaffrey a breather, to give Hubbard in case Hubbard does struggle being a rookie. We need a third running back that's going to get in the game, and we're trying to find that versatility, the guy that might be to go out there and play some, line some up in the slot or wherever, and just do different things. And the versatility that Cannon offers may be a telling sign that Rodney Smith and Reggie Bonifant might not make this roster, at least, not the 53-man roster. It might be the practice squad. Now, Sam Darnold has looked okay. I know he's had a couple passes that haven't been great, but he's been a true professional. He's had some passes that have been spot on. And I've heard some good things, folks, about Will Grier out there, with the second, third team, whatever, throwing the ball, looking sharp. And I'm going to have to really speak to somebody who's been to training camp yet, and I haven't dug up any information. P.J.Walker, I haven't heard anything on P.J.Walker. So it's going to be interesting to see if he is sliding down to the third man, or just they're trying to get Grier more of a look to see if they need to keep him on the roster and P.J. Walker safe. We haven't let that cat out of the bag yet to find out if that's true. Now, who's on the bubble? Ian Thomas. It looks like his stock is going down. I'm kind of worried that, if he keeps dropping the ball, not playing well, Colin Thompson can take his place, but we definitely know that Ian Thomas might not make this roster. He has a very limited time to make this squad, this 53-man roster, folks. And if he doesn't pick it up, who knows? I already done told you Cam Erving. His stock is going down. He's definitely on this bubble. He might not make it. One player I'm not finding anything out about yet. I don't know if it's a learning curve. I don't know if they've just pulled him out. I just don't know if he hasn't stepped up and shined yet or what the situation is. I haven't heard anything about Christian Miller as of late. Don't know what's going on with him. Don't know if he's coming along slowly. Don't know if he's getting lost in a numbers battle. Don't know if he's fine. He's just not really flashing yet. So we've got to keep an eye on what's going to go on with Christian Miller. Matt Rule came out and said that Joey Sly has really looked great. And a lot of people worry with the kicking game we didn't bring anybody else in. But the one thing Matt Rule that shined brightly on Sly that looked good for him is Joey Sly's working with 2 holders and 2 long snappers. You got to remember, Thomas Fletcher coming in, a 6th-round pick from Alabama, and you still got J.J. Jensen. One of these guys is not going to make the squad, folks. And my bet is that J.J. Jensen doesn't make it, but Thomas Fletcher was to mess up really bad or to get hurt. We don't cut Jensen yet. He definitely can play the position of long snapper. But being that Joey Sly has got to use 2 long snappers, and then the holder you're probably looking at, I'm assuming, I know one of them's Charlton, the punter. So you've got him, and I guess the other one may be Oscar Draguicevich, the undrafted free agent punter from Washington State. I'm assuming he is. I wouldn't think it's a quarterback like Grier. But if you got to deal with two holders and two long snappers, the placement of the ball, the timing, from the putting the ball down before you kick it, that's got to really play a lot on Joey Sly's mind. And if he can get through that, that's going to look good for him. I just hope when training camp's over and he really starts kicking during the regular season, he doesn't relax and just starts shitting the bed. Okay, they say Jermaine Carter, a linebacker's looking really well. Shaq Thompson's had a little bit of limited injuries. I heard Perryman's been a little, iffy and spotty, but Carter looks good. J.C. Horn, Jeremy Chin, right there for playing 4 defensive backs, a safety, 2 safeties and 2 corners. Those guys are locking it down. I don't really worry about the other corner between A.J. Bowie after the second week. I know he's got a little tightness and some issues early on with his injury status. It's very minor. I know that, we've got Burris and we got some other guys like Hartsfield at safety and Sam Franklin to see what's going on there. And, of course, we also have Dante Jackson at corner. But between J.C. Horn and Jeremy Chin, it really looks good. We just need the other guys, a couple guys, 2 or 3 guys to step in and just play above average, and we're going to be really looking good there. Of course, Daquan Jones is looking the professional. I've talked a lot about Morgan Fox, how he's looked pretty good. Brian Burns, here's another guy like DJ Moore. He's just playing with the competition. I don't think that our offensive line can hold up this guy yet. It's going to be interesting to see when we get drills against Baltimore later or Tennessee, whoever else we've got to scrimmage, how Brian Burns fares in live action. And, of course, Derrick Brown's looked pretty good. I haven't heard anything about Davion Nixon yet or Brandon Roy, the guy that we got as a rookie last year from Baylor, how they're progressing or coming along. Doesn't mean anything bad, folks. Remember, nobody can hit yet. Today was the first day that we had them in pads. So, folks, I'll keep you abreast. Give me some comments. Let me know what you think and what you've seen so far in training camp. By all means, folks, subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. Pound that like button. Leave me some comments like I said. And make sure you hit that bell notification and be notified of future content like today's video on the Panthers. And we will see you next time on another episode of the Carolina Sports Guy.